Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our review of the Dreame L60 Pro Ultra Robot Vacuum. The brand launched this model along with 3 others at the Dreame Next event, which we attended in April of this year. We bought one and put it through several weeks of hands-on testing in our studio. In this review, we'll cover what we really liked about this model, as well as some weaknesses we noticed to see if the L60 Pro Ultra could land a spot on our top 20 robot vacuum list. Links are in the description, and let's get started. First, the basics. This is a robot vacuum and mop combo, and it sits at the top of Dreame's new L60 lineup. The L60 series follows the successful L50 Ultra, which held the #1 spot on our top robot vacuum list for several months. Historically, Dreame's L series has occupied more of the mid-range space in the company's lineup, sitting below the premium X series, but the L60 Pro Ultra pushes into more premium territory, both in features and price. Moving on to the pros. This model is a strong vacuum cleaner. It did well at its main job of sweeping up debris of many different sizes from the surfaces of both hard floors and carpet. Dreame says it has 35,000 pascals of suction, which sounds impressive, but official suction numbers don't always tell the whole story. So we put it through our own tests. In our suction bench test, it scored above average, and it performed well in our airflow test, which is something we often associate with stronger real-world vacuuming performance. This seemed to play out in our carpet deep clean test, where we work sand into medium pile carpet and measure how much the robot is able to remove. The L60 was able to get 90% of the sand, which is much higher than the average. The brush design on the L60 is Dreame's HyperStream DuoBrush, which is really 2 brushes that roll counter to one another to funnel hair into the dustbin so it doesn't wrap around the brushes. The side brush, which sweeps debris into the path of the main brush, also has an anti-tangle feature and extends into corners. We check anti-tangle systems using 7-inch hair, and Dreame's DuoBrush system has a great track record in this test. The L60 did it again with 0% of the hairs tangling around either the main brush or the side brush, much better than the average of 26%. The vacuum also did really well in our pet hair pickup test, where we flattened 2.5-inch hairs onto carpet to recreate how it would appear in a real-life home. The L60 removed 93.5% of the hairs in our test, which is a great score compared to the average of 82%. Obstacle avoidance was another big pro. The L60 uses an AI-powered camera in combination with dual laser 3D structured light and an LED light assist. The system performed exceptionally well in all of our standard tests and in our torture test, successfully avoiding 22 out of 24 possible objects. This was even better than the L50's high score, and we really liked that model both in our studio and in our home tests, so we feel good about how the L60 could perform in real homes. In addition to excellent obstacle avoidance, the L60 Pro Ultra is equipped with Dreame's new ProLeap threshold climbing hardware. This system is rated to clear a tiered threshold of up to 88 millimeters tall, with the first step being 45 millimeters. In our studio test, the L60 was able to cross a single threshold of 51 millimeters, which is higher than its official rating. So if threshold climbing is important for your home, this is a really strong feature. The Pro Ultra is the only one of the L60 series that is rated to go this high, as the L60 Ultra is rated for 60 millimeters on a tiered threshold, and the other 2 members are rated for 40 millimeters. The L60 model is 3.5 inches tall, or 89 millimeters, which is lower than average and helps the robot access space under low furniture. Dock features are another pro. It washes the mops at 212 degrees Fahrenheit and dries them with hot air. The station automatically empties the robot's dustbin into a disposable bag, and it supports fast charging. It automatically mixes detergent into the water tank, and the robot can leave its mop pads in the dock automatically for vacuum-only runs. This brings us to the mopping features, which is another pro. The L60 family uses dual spinning mop pads, and one of the highlights of the Pro Ultra model is that it uses hot water to mop the floor. The robot heats the water to 40 C, which is 104 Fahrenheit, and the hot water helps break down and remove messes. In addition to leaving the mop pads in the dock, the mop pads themselves can lift 10.5 millimeters. This lets the robot clean a mix of hard floors and carpets in a single pass without getting the carpet wet. The app is one of our favorites in the industry, so that's definitely a pro. It has a number of features for room and cleaning customizations, no-go zones, map editing, and scheduling. The camera on the obstacle avoidance system is accessible through the app, then you can use it for remote viewing and driving the robot. The app also has more detailed features, like a setting to clean in the same direction as the floor, which minimizes the appearance of streaks. You can integrate the robot with third-party voice assistants, but it also has an onboard assistant for voice commands, and the robot is Matter compatible. Before we move on to the cons, we want to point out that none of these are exactly big deal breakers for most homes, but they were weaknesses that we noticed. The first drawback is that while the mopping features themselves are very robust, mopping performance was a little mixed. It did a good job in our dried stain test, scoring above the average, but it used a lot more water than we like, which is something that we penalize on mops because overly wet floors can lead to streaking when they dry. When we combine the stain cleaning with the water penalty score, the combined mopping score was a little below the average, and we would have preferred to see this higher. You can set the water flow to a lower setting. Another weak point was navigation. This robot uses Dreame's VersaLift retracting LiDAR, which drops into the robot's body when it senses low clearances. This helps the robot bring its profile down so that it can access under tight spaces like sofas or beds. The efficiency on this was a little lower than average, which means that the robot can take a little longer to route a path. Battery efficiency was also a little under the average. The Pro Ultra uses a larger battery pack than the other L60 models, likely to accommodate the water heating feature in the mop. Between the slightly low scores in navigation and battery efficiency, the robot covered a smaller area per charge than the average. With a recharge and resume feature, this is not likely to be a huge deal breaker for most homes, but if you have a large floor plan or a lot of carpet which can drain a battery faster, it is something to consider. This is a new release, so there aren't a lot of user reviews, but if a lot of negative feedback starts coming in, the L60 Pro Ultra could move around in our rankings. For the time being, it has secured itself a very high place on our top 20 robot vacuums list. With a powerful vacuum, high-performing obstacle avoidance, high threshold climbing, and low profile, this is an agile and effective floor cleaner. To see this and all our favorite robot vacuums, be sure to check out our top 20 robot vacuums list. Don't forget to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you go. Thanks for watching. Vacuum Wars independently tests new vacuums year-round, and the links in the description are updated regularly to reflect our latest top picks across multiple categories. You'll also find detailed rankings on the Vacuum Wars website, including our top 20 robot vacuums, top cordless vacuums, and more. Every review here is unsponsored, just honest results. Subscribe so you never miss one, and tap the next video to keep watching.